Hi everyone, Eric Nelson here once again, and thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. For today, I am back with another book review on Regina Puckett's I Will Breathe. Now, before you go and judge the title and the book cover and come up with the assumption that, oh, it's just a cheap hello dramatic title and some sort of art piece that only to make it look more hello dramatic than it already is. Well, let me just correct you all by saying it's far from being a mellow dramatic story. As a matter of fact, it's actually set in the 2800s, about like actually exactly 800 years after an apocalyptic war. And the title "I Will Breathe," I think, is very symbolic with this whole novel. And why I think it is symbolic, well, I will actually get to that towards the end of the review. But let me just go right ahead and just state why I think this is a really great book, and why I believe, or actually I think it is a fact that this is not some sort of cheap, mellow, dramatic story. And as I said before, it is set in a post-apocalyptic war zone, where it centers around a young girl named Liberty, and she lives in this airship that her adopted father had built for her, who is in this story dead. And although she is technically not alone, she feels like she's alone, but not just because her father is dead, but also because the very few survivors, or the very few ancestors of the survivors of the war, are so suspicious of one another and afraid of everyone. Well, because the evidence of the war is still intact, and that's because the real survivors of the war had the same feelings, where they're all afraid and suspicious of one another. And what happens when people are afraid or suspicious of one another? They either go ahead, they either fight each other to the death, or they just run away in fear of their lives. Well, in this case, they totally alienate everybody from themselves. So not a whole lot going on, but in this case, it's very dangerous, because if they do not help one another and help rebuild the world and mankind, then the human race will eventually die down. So now Liberty, unfortunately, isn't that much help either, because she pretty much likes to remain in her father's airship. So how does a young robot save everything? How does a young robot save mankind? Well, from my point of view, it feels as if it's like a symbolic or a subliminal statement, where the younger generation of technology will one day save the world. But basically, going back to the title, I Will Breathe. In the case of the human race, how does the human race survive? Well, how do we humans survive? By breathing. So I will breathe. I think is from the point of view of liberty. You know, when she finally gets the confidence from the young robot to take a stand and help rebuild mankind and save the human race, she is basically saying, I will breathe, meaning I will help save mankind. And how will she actually do this? Well, and also does she actually say these words? Well, that's up to you, the readers, to read. And believe me, it is well worth the read. And in case you are not familiar, but I had also reviewed Regina Puckett's short story Hours, and I actually reviewed that in late 2013. So if you want to go to those videos of 2013 and check that one out, please do. And actually, Regina Puckett is the author of many great books. So you can get this book or her book or any of her books basically anywhere, especially Amazon. And I hope to see you all at the bookstore or the iBookstore.